In this lesson, we are going to explore the approaches in teaching. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeggy Misperos, and welcome to my demo lecture. So we all know that a normal classroom is composed of diverse learners. We may have the fast learners, students who are capable of understanding the lesson easily. Number two are the average learners. They are also known as the normal learners and the slow learners, or they are the learners who are below average. And we might also have the motivated students and the confused ones. Now the question is, how are we going to teach and produce a productive lesson out of these students? Now let me introduce to you these two kinds of approaches, the deductive approach and inductive approach. Both approaches can be used in almost all kinds of topics as long as it has concept and rules. Now let's see the difference between these two approaches. In teaching deductive or in deductive approach, teacher has to give the rules first or to present the rules. Then present some examples, and then here comes the practice. It is also the summary, or it is also where we assist the students on how much they have learned about the lesson. While in inductive approach, teacher has to present examples first, then find the rules, and then the formula concepts. So as you can see in these two diagrams, the deductive approach is the opposite of inductive approach. Because in teaching deductive, teacher teaches the students from general to specific. While in inductive approach, teacher has to teach the students from specific to general. So when we teach inductive approach, it is more like or applicable to beginners. Now let us focus on deductive approach. Here, deductive approach refers to presenting a general concept and understanding it by studying particular examples. It is like we give the concepts to the students and we let the students explore and discover on how are they going to apply the concept to different kinds of examples. It's like we give them the rules and then we let the students apply the rules to another example. So here I have one example. Let's read together. All spiders have 8 legs. A tarantula is a spider. Therefore, tarantulas have 8 legs. Here in this example, we give first the general concept. All spiders have 8 legs. And then we give an example. A tarantula. Then the students would think and conclude that since a tarantula is also a kind of spider, tarantula also have 8 legs. So this is how the students would learn in a deductive environment. Now, deductive approach prefers from general to specific, or proceeds from general to specific. Next is unknown to know. Abstract rules and concrete instances, and complex to simple. Now let us talk about the advantages and disadvantages of deductive approach. First is the advantages. Number 1, this method is short and time saving. When we teach our students in a deductive way, or we offer a deductive environment to the students, we just give the general concept of the lesson. We do not need to discuss the whole book before we make an assessment. We give the general concept, then we let the students do the work. We let them explore. We let them apply the concept to another example until they get the learning that they needed on that particular lesson. Number 2, it is suitable for almost all kinds of topics as long as it has rules and concept. Number 3, it is also useful for revision and drill works. Next is it uses learner's memory. We in the school always encourages the students to learn, to memorize, to understand. Now in deductive approach, we are encouraging them, or we are helping them to have a very good memory. Because learning deductive, you have to not just to understand the concept, but most especially to remember the concept. Next is it's a simple method. And the last one, it helps almost all types of learners. Now, here comes the disadvantages of this approach. Number one, it's not a psychological method. Number two, it's not easy to understand. Because when we teach the students in a deductive environment, they need to understand the lesson by their abilities, by their discovery, by their own understanding. We just give and explain a bit about the general concept of the lesson, but we let the students apply that concept on their own. So it is not that easy to understand, but it is very, very essential. And it's very, very effective too. They would then gain an understanding much deeper than learning through discussion. Next is it taxes students' memory. The students, when they are learning in a deductive approach, need to have a very good memory. Because if they lack memory, or they can't remember the concept, they would have a hard time, or they cannot apply the concept to different kinds of example. That's why students should first have a very good memory in learning in a deductive environment. Next is it's not suitable for beginners. We know that beginners are still building their foundation, and they cannot get directly the general concept of the topics. They need to be spoon-fed. They need to learn the basics first before we give them the general concepts of our lesson. So it is not suitable for beginners. Next is it encourages cramming. When we teach this using deductive method, there would also happen to have a competition with their peers, because we cannot lie that students in one lesson would have different ideas. Now, if we give one general concept, many ideas would pop up from the students. And that's when they have their peers as their competitor. And it encourages cramming for everyone. Next is students are passive listeners. When the teacher is discussing about the general concept of the subject, they have to listen carefully. They have to understand. They have to memorize. So it is more like when the teacher is talking, it is more like a teacher-centered learning, because the teacher has to discuss first before the students can do some activities. Next is puts more emphasis on memory. Without good memory, they would have a hard time on learning in a deductive environment. So that's it for my video. I hope you get something from my discussion. Thank you so much and have a great day.